What would you do if the one person you trusted most was living a life you never knew? I found out on a Tuesday, the air thick with the scent of stale coffee and betrayal. The screen of her phone left unlocked on the kitchen counter glowed like a confession booth at 2 a.m., a name I didn't recognize, Mark. The messages were a dagger, each one twisting deeper. He has no idea, she'd written. Still thinks we're trying for a baby. My world didn't just crack, it imploded. Every shared dream, every whispered promise became a lie. And in that silent kitchen, with the city of Chicago sleeping outside our window, I knew I wasn't just heartbroken. I was being haunted by a ghost I hadn't even met yet. If you genuinely enjoy our stories, please subscribe to the channel. Tell us where you're from and what time it is right now. It's always fascinating to know how far our story flows. The first few weeks were a masterclass in self-deception. I told myself I'd misread it, that it was a joke, a misunderstanding. But Sarah's behavior was the confirmation I couldn't ignore. She became a stranger in our own home on North Clark Street. Her phone was suddenly glued to her hand, angled away from me. Late nights with the girls became frequent, her laughter on the phone sounding forced and hollow. She'd come home smelling of a cologne that wasn't mine, a faint, cloying scent that clung to her hair. She started fights over nothing: the dishes, the remote, the way I breathed. It was textbook deflection, a desperate attempt to paint me as the problem, to justify the venom she was nursing. The woman I married, the one who'd held my hand through my father's funeral, was gone. In her place was a cold, manipulative actress, and I was her unwilling audience. The discovery began in pieces, a mosaic of deceit. A credit card statement I opened by mistake revealed a charge for a room at the Thompson, Chicago, a hotel we'd never stayed at together. The date matched one of her late nights. Then came the receipts I found in her coat pocket dinners for two at Gibson S Bar and Steakhouse, a place she knew I found too loud. The affair partner, Mark, was a ghost no more. A quick, good-trenching search on her laptop's browser history gave him a face. He was a senior partner at her firm, smug and successful, with a smile that made my blood run cold. They felt untouchable, wrapped in the arrogance of their secret. They thought I was a fool, the loyal, trusting husband who was too busy working to notice his world being dismantled. The breaking point came during what was supposed to be our anniversary dinner. She sat across from me, scrolling through her phone under the table, a faint smile on her face. "Sarah," I said, my voice barely a whisper. "Are you happy?" She looked up, her eyes vacant. "Of course, honey. Why wouldn't I be?" The casual lie, delivered with such ease, shattered the last of my denial. I excused myself, walked to the restroom, and stared at the hollowed-out man in the mirror. The tears came then, silent and hot. I wasn't just sad. I was humiliated, broken. But as I splashed cold water on my face, something new took root in the ruins of my heart. A cold, clear resolve. The grief was still there, but it was now encased in ice. My mind, once clouded with pain, began to work. I wasn't going to be a victim. I was going to be a strategist. The next 6 months were a quiet war. I hired a private investigator, a grizzled ex-cop who documented every secret meeting, every shared glance. The photos were brutal, them kissing in a parking garage in the Loop, holding hands across a table at a dimly lit bar. I opened a new bank account, slowly siphoning my savings. I met with a divorce attorney, a shark named Ms. Albright, who laid out the battlefield with chilling precision. Illinois is a no-fault state, but she assured me that financial infidelity and hidden assets were another matter entirely. And that's when I found the final, most devastating piece of the puzzle. While searching for financial documents, I found a medical bill from Northwestern Memorial Hospital, tucked away in a shoebox. It was for an emergency procedure, AD&C, a miscarriage. It was dated 3 months prior. She had been pregnant with his child and had lost it, and I had been sleeping next to her every night. Completely oblivious, still hoping we were starting our own family. The knowledge was a poison, but I held it close. It was the key. The trap was set for her 35th birthday party, a lavish affair she'd planned for weeks at a rented-out gallery in the West Loop. All her friends, her family, her colleagues, including Mark, were there. She was radiant, basking in the attention, holding my hand and calling me my rock. The performance was sickening. Midway through the party, I took the microphone for a toast. I started with a loving tribute, my voice steady, watching her smile. Then I let the axe fall. a special thanks to Mark, I said, locking eyes with him across the room. For showing my wife the kind of attention I apparently couldn't. The room went silent. Sarah's face went white. I projected the PI's photos onto the gallery wall of the hotel. The kisses, the secret dinners. Gasps echoed through the crowd. Her mother looked at her with horror. Mark tried to slip out, but I wasn't done. But the real secret, I said, my voice dropping, isn't the affair. It's what you've been hiding from everyone. I looked directly at Sarah, her body trembling. I know about the miscarriage, Sarah. I know you were pregnant with his child. That was the moment she broke. A guttural sob escaped her lips, and she collapsed, her perfect world crashing down around her, in front of everyone she knew. Her father, a man I respected, just stared at me, then at his daughter on the floor, his face a mask of shame and disgust. I didn't stay to watch the aftermath, simply placed my wedding ring on the gift table. Next to a beautifully wrapped present I'd bought her months ago, and walked out into the cold Chicago night. The legal battle was swift and brutal. The evidence was overwhelming. She lost everything. Months have passed. I sometimes walk by her old apartment. The lights are always off. I heard she moved out of the city, and Mark was fired after the scandal. There's no victory in this, no triumph. It's just a profound, echoing silence where a life used to be. The only thing I truly destroyed was myself.